Get started. All right, so I think it'd be helpful if we start out with a couple introductions. So, Aaron, if you want to kick us off and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go to Gary.
Sure. Good morning. Good to be with you guys. I am Erin Waddell. I work with Louisville Metro Government's Office of Resilience and Community Services, which is essentially the social service arm of the city of Louisville. And I manage our Office of Financial Empowerment here, which leads our Bank on Louisville effort. So good morning. Great to be with you guys.
Gary?
Hey, everyone. Good morning. My name is Gary Cremines. I'm the Director of Programs at United Way of the Bluegrass. Primarily, I oversee our Waypoint initiative, which we'll be talking about here a little bit in more detail. And also, as Director of Programs, oversee our financial stability programming and those components of United Way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aaron and Gary. And I'm sure a majority of the people here are familiar with me, but just in case you're not, my name is Matt Fry. I'm the Executive Director of the Kentucky Financial Empowerment Commission. We're a state-based organization that runs out of the Kentucky State Treasury that is focused on improving financial literacy and financial education for all Kentuckians. Commonly in financial literacy, we think about education. How can we improve people's knowledge? But this Bank On work is key to financial literacy, to financial empowerment as well, because it looks at the relationship side of things. And so that's why I'm super excited to be here and super excited to be connected with people like Aaron and Gary, and excited to tell you all about how Bank On in Kentucky is going, but also how Bank On works. So I will, you tell me when to click through the slides, Aaron, but I'll go ahead and get you started here.
Okay, awesome. Well, and also thank you, Matt and KFEC for hosting today. Appreciate it. So Bank On Louisville, we are a municipally led Bank On coalition that first launched in 2010. And again, we're kind of tucked into Louisville Metro Government Social Service Department through our Financial Empowerment Division. And I will say that our Bank On work has really become the cornerstone or the foundation of all of our financial empowerment work over the last 12 years. And our Bank On work particularly has evolved over that time too. So Matt, if you'll go ahead and go to the next slide.
Oops.
Great.
Some of this kind of got muddled, I guess, there in the.
That's okay. And I can, some of this stuff is on our website, and I can also email stuff out later too. But in front of you, this is just a quick snapshot of our 10-year report. We celebrated our 10th anniversary the year of COVID 2020. But this kind of displays some of our impact over the last 12 years. Historically, Bank On has focused on three kind of approaches in our banking access work. First, access to accounts, of course. We see one of our very primary roles as serving as a bridge between the or underbanked residents and the safe accounts available in our community. We've switched in the last couple of years, but in our old account reporting process, we reported connecting folks to more than 50,000 safe and affordable checking accounts over the past 12 years. So we were pretty excited about that number. Second piece of what we do is financial education. And we do it in a way that we pair together education with the account access to increase the literacy, of course, but while really offering an opportunity at the same time to connect to a product. And through our, what we call our financial empowerment provider network, we've provided more than 26,000 financial education sessions to residents over the years. And then the third piece of kind of what we do is around training social service providers. We realized a really long time ago that having an army of financial empowerment advocates was way more powerful than a standalone effort. So now we've trained over, and I'm not even sure what the updated number is, but it's well over 1,000 frontline social service staff in the fundamentals of financial empowerment, which includes Bank On, of course. New this year in that effort is a training for service providers around the national account standards. We think it's important for service providers to understand what are the national account standards, why they're important, and then of course, how to get our residents connected to accounts. And if you flip to the next slide, Matt. Great. So we're happy that we now have 10 CFE certified accounts available in Louisville. You see 9 on the screen. We just recently had another partner achieve certification. So we're actually up to 10, but we're very excited about that. I mentioned evolution earlier. We made a pivot a couple years ago to only recognize CFE certified accounts as our bank on accounts. Historically, and before that, we were recognizing a larger number of safe and affordable accounts. But since the national account standards were introduced through CFE over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've kind of made that switch to say, okay, certified accounts are the bank on accounts. So those are the 10 accounts that we support, we encourage, and we publicize. That means that when we do financial education or when we're doing program integrations, those are the accounts and the financial institutions that are used and referenced as bank on accounts. We're proud of these, of course. We hope to continue to grow that number of accounts. I believe that every additional account means that we open the door wider and wider for folks to get connected to the mainstream. So we hope to continue to grow that number. Next slide. So program integration. Again, I mentioned evolution, and this is one way that we are really trying to modernize, for lack of a better term, our bank on work. We are trying to embed mainstream banking access into social service programs, right? So we're trying to create banking access a component of other programs. And so it's not such a standalone opportunity. So new this year is an integration that we're working with our VITA, free tax preparation. So we're pairing free tax prep with our banking access work of Bank on Louisville. So here in Louisville, our local VITA program is run through our Asset Building Coalition, and they normally serve about 7,000 to 8,000 tax filers each season. We've known and we know that tax time is a great chance to talk with people about their finances. So we're using that as a chance to promote mainstream banking. It's called Tax Time Connect. Purpose is to help residents not only get their taxes prepared for free, of course, but also to help them get connected to an account, choose direct deposit for their tax refund, and to get them in the habit of using that account to manage their money. And these are with CFE certified bank on accounts, of course. Next slide, Matt. Quickly, project goals. Tax Time Connect means that we are talking about accounts with every tax filer this year. We are using what we call a banking assessment form to determine filers' banking statuses. Or do you have an account? If you do, what kind of account is it? That kind of stuff. We're educating folks about the benefits of banking, the benefits of direct deposit. We have opportunities to open accounts online before their VITA appointments, on site at their VITA appointments. And we've introduced what we call a financial advocate who provides one-on-one support to filers as they open bank on accounts and learn how to use that account moving forward. So we have this really fantastic advocate this year, and she's doing some really powerful and deep conversations with people and making some really great headway with people about getting them back into banking or into banking for the first time. And then also helping, what other income payment streams do you have? So we're not only talking about opening the accounts for the refund, but do you have regular paychecks, or do you have unemployment benefits or social security benefits, whatever it may be? Let's also help you get those set up for direct deposit into that account at the same time. So we're following up with tax filers after their appointments, about 60 days after, to understand their ongoing behaviors. Are they using that account? Did they set up direct deposit? How can we further support? That kind of stuff. So this year is a pilot year. We don't have data yet, but I'm very excited to share when we do. it is our intention that this becomes a permanent component of the VITA program. And then what we will do is use what we learned from this pilot to inform future program integration opportunities. So I wanted to highlight this one as a way to help demonstrate how we're connecting the Bank On work with other social service programs. And then I think the last slide, Matt, is just simple contact information, but but minus my email address. That would have been helpful. But anyways, I'll stop there and feel free to butt in with any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask now, but we'll also have an opportunity to do that at the end of the presentation too. Okay. Seeing none, I will now pass the baton off to Gary.
Great, thank you so much. And as Erin was saying, one of the keys with Bank On and really any kind of sort of financial stability programming is the attempt to integrate it into a lot of the other things that we're doing. And at United Way, we launched our Waypoint Centers just almost a year ago. We did a soft launch of one of them in March of last year, and the full-on launch was in July. And the idea behind the Waypoint Center is, we took a step back to look at how United Way was creating impact in our 10 counties and in our communities. And we realized that one of the things that we really wanted to do was to be able to create a physical presence in the neighborhoods that were most in need, and to work with some key funded agency partners to be on site with us in those neighborhoods offering programming. And we have the ability on a United Way level to create some bespoke programming that could look a little different in each neighborhood, depending on what the neighborhood needs are. Right now, we have 3 Waypoint Centers, one in the west end of Lexington at the Black and Williams Center, one in the east end at the Charles Young Center, and one in Paris and the downtown Paris Bourbon County YMCA. And ultimately, we would like to create more of these centers throughout our service area, so other counties. So you can see how the totality of programming could look different depending on where the Waypoint Center is. But one of the key components we realized was going to be the financial stability piece. We did a lot of research to determine where those Waypoint Centers should be located, looked at a lot of the census data, and really identified the neighborhoods down to the neighborhood level, the neighborhoods that were at the highest levels of poverty in each of the counties that we served. And from a population standpoint, it made sense to start in Lexington. So that's where the West End and the East End Waypoint Centers, how they came to be. And again, the idea is a collaboration so that folks who live in those neighborhoods, there are so many wonderful service organizations across Central Kentucky, but they're not all located together. So it's very difficult for someone to receive all the services that they need in one shot. So that was really the impetus behind creating it. So folks come into the Waypoint Center. We've got some incredibly skilled and wonderful staff working in these centers, and folks come in, they don't just come in with one need, they come in with multiple needs, but most every issue that they're facing revolves around living in poverty. So that financial component is primary. We are lucky enough to get a startup grant through Cities for Financial Empowerment for Bank On. So we just sort of begun our Bank On journey. And we've just submitted, at the end of March, submitted the full grant application. Having said that, though, we do have Bank On up and running in our 2 Waypoint Centers here in Lexington, and we are partnering with PNC, thank you, Jahida, and also Fifth Third. And there are partners offering CFE certified accounts currently, and I think we've signed up, we're getting close to 30 folks that we've been able to sign up so far. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Once we get the full grant, we'll be in a much better position to expand the program and to promote and grow it. But yes, I mean, it's sort of foundational to what we do. What we're trying to create also are opportunities, opportunities for folks in the neighborhood to learn about safe, affordable accounts. So we have financial empowerment days. We do have some partners that are funded agency partners like Uprising, who do the work of financial literacy and budgeting and counseling. They're part of our Waypoint model, so they're there a couple times a week. Also, Jubilee Jobs. And we've had a number of folks get jobs by virtue of coming to the Waypoint Center for help, sometimes for a job, sometimes for something else, but they're actually getting gainful employment. All the more important than, of course, that they have a safe account where they can put their money and direct deposit. That is so foundational. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's shocking how many folks don't really understand that until you can sort of explain it and talk about the benefits and really talk about some of the pitfalls of not utilizing safe accounts. And there is resistance, I'll be honest, but it's not our experience has been it's not difficult to overcome. It just takes a little bit of explaining and education, and folks are very happy to be a part of it. Yeah, so we can talk a little bit more about some of these things, but if there are any questions at this point, I'd be happy to answer them.
Cool. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask now. Cool.
Carolyn?
Hi, Gary. My name is Carolyn Wheeler, and I live here in Lexington, and I had very good intentions to get to your soft opening last July, and I forget what happened. But anyway, but I am very excited about your work. My work involves I'm at the Human Development Institute at the University of Kentucky, and we do a lot. You may be familiar with HDI, I don't know. But anyway, we do a lot of training for employment service providers who assist people to provide employment. And Aaron, you may be familiar with the Coalition for Workforce Diversity there in Louisville. We aspire to something similar, but we have about 5 providers and they have 35. So we've, but in any event, the point that I'm wanting to get to, Gary, is if it would be helpful, I'd be really glad to either provide training to staff, but also make sure staff know about resources. And Aaron, you may know about them in Louisville, to help people understand the impact of work on either SSI or SSDI. We don't want, so I mean, there are 2 programs, one's in Louisville, one's here in Lexington, that provide that service for free. I also do a bunch of training, have resources. So I see Jerry's email, but I don't know, Gary, and Aaron, I mean, I know you all, I can find you, but I'm just, I can put my email in the chat. How's that if you want to connect with me? But I also would like us to host something about the Waypoint centers that we could then share. We have my colleague, thank you, Aaron, my colleague, Katie Wolf-Whaley, we do all the training for support employment providers in the state of Kentucky. She has a listserv of 800 people. I don't know how to use that to the best advantage because I know Bank On Aaron isn't everywhere and this isn't everywhere, but we might. Anyway, I just think would love to get the word out to people to know about these and opportunities and maybe how they might grow them in their areas. Because it's just a huge issue. Yeah. It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. Yes, to all of that. We actually have just hired 2 new impact managers, one for the East End and one for Paris. And our Paris manager has been training with Jerry. And Jerry Botts, for folks on the call, she's sort of our rock star impact manager in the West End, and she has trained our Paris manager. She'll start in Paris next week, and we just hired somebody new for the East End, and he'll be starting on the 11th. So it's a great time from a timing standpoint that it couldn't be better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll just make the connection and be a resource to one another. So
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. See, that's what this panel, this webinar is for connections like that. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Yeah, and I just want to add that yes, Carolyn, you taught many courses and workshops over the years for us, and that workshop is a staple in our certification program each year, actually, and continues to be our most highly attended course every year.
Very cool.
I know. So yes, the need is there, and the need for the information and the knowledge is
well, and we do update things, Aaron, because things change. So anyway,
yeah, I need to figure out who's teaching for us, but yeah, we might reconnect.
I mean, but there may be anyway, I'll send you some resources about
perfect
2022, in case
That's great.
whatever I did was is a bit, the concepts, how Social Security treats that, it doesn't change, but just the amounts change because of cost of living adjustments. So
Sure.
thank you. And thank you for your all's work. It was inspiring. I came to a number of your trainings too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Would love an event in Lexington with the Waypoint Centers and HDI, Carolyn. So that would be a lot of fun and productive too. Thank you. Cool. Well, and also something I want to make sure I add here as well, that's a bit tangential but valuable nonetheless, is Jerry Botts. She is an incredible asset there at the Waypoint Centers. Oftentimes at the commission, we get calls from people that are in an insecure housing situation, whether they feel like they're about to get evicted or they don't know how to make rent for the next month. And there are also people in some employment situations that they don't feel very secure about, or they're not sure how to get a job. And when I get those calls here at the commission, I figure out where they are. And if they're in Lexington, my next call is Jerry. And she is a fantastic resource on that. And so love having her a part of our network because she is just such a huge help to those who really need it. It's almost unimaginable to be in a situation like that.
Yeah, she's amazing. I do want to add one thing because it slipped my mind in thinking about what Aaron was saying. We do have a VITA program as well, volunteer income tax. So and with Aaron's help, she's been really wonderful to sort of help us try to figure out how to integrate Bank On as part of the process with VITA. CKEEP is our version of VITA. We've got a coalition across the state, but CKEEP is the United Way version of it. And so just as a point of information, it's not something that we got off the ground this year, but next year, having the full Bank On grant, we'll have the VITA grant again. And I mean, I want to say, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's CKEEP, I think, is on the order of, $2+ million worth of tax returns. It's maybe closer to 4 across the total VITA coalition. So it's a lot of money. And it's, it's important that folks be able to use that as something of a building block for financial stability.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gary. So to take
Matt,
us home. Yeah, go ahead, Deborah.
I'm sorry, this is Deborah. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you to both Aaron and Gary for their engagement in the Bank On programs. And for those of you who may not know me, I'm with PNC, and we have been just a partner with this effort since the beginning. And Gary, you just mentioned the VITA, and I want to tell you, whenever you all get that running back up again, please connect with us because we do have some products and services that we offer around VITA as well.
Absolutely, we will do that for sure, Deborah. And particularly with the East End Waypoint Center coming back online with a new impact manager, PNC's. For those of you who don't know, they're a sponsor for the East End Waypoint Center. Significant financial commitment. We definitely want to be able to begin to build that out so it's matching the West End in terms of volume and the help that we're providing people, and it should actually exceed it. There are many. The East End has more households than the West End. We've got a lot of high hopes for what we can accomplish there. So, thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much for being here, Deborah. So to take us home here, I'm sure everyone here has a brief understanding, at least, or a general understanding of what the Financial Empowerment Commission is, and I alluded to that here at the beginning of the presentation too. But to really hone in on this Bank On work and how that plays a role in with the work we do it's the relationship side of financial empowerment. And it's really important to try to improve people's knowledge as much as you can, but at the same time, understand the system that they're in and the relationship they may have with the financial institution, and help them get banked, help them get access to accounts that meet the situation that they're in. And we've mentioned a few times here the Cities for Financial Empowerment, and we've mentioned what Bank On is, and conventionally Bank On is known as getting individuals banked, but there are a lot of people that need help with getting access to accounts. And so while I think programs like the VITA program, the CKEEP program, the Waypoint Centers, and the different accounts, that's the conventional side and a very key side to bank on. Something that that I throw into the bank on umbrella is the commission's first step into this bank on work, where we partnered with the Julietta Market that's on that's in the North Lime. It's on along the North Lime corridor in Lexington, and we brought in PNC to offer some banking advice, some business banking advice to the vendors at Julietta Market. And Jahida and Deborah were a key part of making that project come together, as well as a few of their account representatives, business account representatives from the Lexington PNC Bank, one of the branches there. And to just kind of reiterate, this work is really important because we were through some pre-survey, through a survey we did before we did this event with Julietta Market, we found that half of the vendors there didn't have a business bank account. And that's just such a key component to growing a business. One of those things being a line of credit, keeping accounts separate, the list goes on. And so the work that the Cities for Financial Empowerment does in this account process, the work that they're doing, that Aaron is doing it with Bank on Louisville, is awesome. And as is the Waypoint Center as well. But I think it's great that we broaden our horizons on what this bank on work can be, and it can be business banking, which is intriguing for a financial institution, because that is a whole sorts of business opportunities for you all on the credit side of things, because a business could be bringing in more money than an individual, hypothetically. And so it's a really cool opportunity that I wanted to just put on everyone's mind, that it's an example of something that we can do. We can talk about individual account access, but we can also talk about business account access. And so with a few of these ideas in mind, that's just kind of that's our ask here to everyone. Back in January of this year, Aaron, Gary, and a few others with the United Way of the Bluegrass got together and we formed the Kentucky Bank On Network. And we developed this organization to increase account access across the state, start up more Bank On coalitions. There's a Bank On coalition in Harrisburg, just outside of Owensboro, that we just learned about, that we want to learn more about. But Northern Kentucky doesn't have a Bank On coalition, and it's not necessarily always about coalitions. I think I wrote a quote that Aaron mentioned earlier that I think is incredibly valuable, that we should all, if we take one thing away from us, we should remember it, is that adding accounts opens the door wider and wider to people. And I think that's really powerful, whether that be on the business side of things or the individual account access side of things. And that's what the Kentucky Bank On Network is about. And I'm really excited to see us grow. And so before I ramble any longer, I am going to open up the floor for some questions, but also I have a few that I prepared myself as well. So while I'm kind of transitioning things over, does anyone have any questions for the panel?